Aloha Alive. We've got Mr. Aloha Alive himself. Of course, I'm your hostess with the mostest for his highest, Auntie Dawn. Augie T,
Hi.
you are amazing. We were talking about the fact that I just saw your show and you had fresh material.
Yeah.
And you said, go ahead, tag Jason Momoa. I like him, see him at Jason Momoa or whatever it is,
Pride
right?
of Gypsies.
That's it, the Gypsies.
Pride of Gypsies, yeah.
So it's so fresh, it's so good. How do you get content? Because the other stuff you were talking about,
Yeah.
may I translate for our continent, it was the makelauleas. We used to have regular funerals back in the day when you and I were growing up in the 70s.
When we
Today,
said bye to somebody.
thank you.
You know,
and we actually cried.
we grieved.
Yes.
Which was important, right?
Very quiet,
and
very
at
somber.
some point it all changed.
Then now it's bucka loose for broke. You hire you as an MC
And
to entertain.
You have Filipino cameramen, so another funeral that I attended.
Oh, here we go.
One of the things that sometimes happens is I get invited as the representative in the area to attend, and I went to this funeral. It was like on wedding, felt like that.
Oh,
on
wow.
MC, you
Wow,
know,
yes.
and they introduced the family that
Right,
come in,
right.
and then a Filipino lady
Wow.
did music.
Did they have intro music when they bring the
Oh,
family in?
it was
Right.
like
And
that.
it's matching attire
Yes.
like a wedding.
It was like that. It was
Yes.
exactly like that. But the
Wow.
lady that was singing, I think she sang "The Greatest Love of All."
Oh, by
And then
Whitney
she-
Houston?
Yes, and after she was done, she was like, "If you need me to perform at your party, your event, please let me know." And I was like,
At your what?
dude, I had no idea who
At
these
your
people were.
party.
Anyway, party.
Filipino.
Party,
Filipino.
you know, gathering,
Oh, yes.
events, you know.
Yes.
So
Events.
yes, I was moved
She did a plug right there.
right there,
at the
and the
funeral.
body was right in the back of her.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
that was a picture moment. That was postable.
Was
Yeah.
yeah,
So these-
I told my staff, I don't think I belong because
you mean your
as a-
councilman staff? Because you wear different
Right,
hats.
correct, and it's important for them to understand, like, you know, in the morning I'm radio guy, that's my hat.
Yeah.
In the afternoon I'm
City councilman,
and then
one of the biggest districts in the state of Hawaii.
you know, on the weekend.
MC comedian.
And you know, if I need to be there, please understand that if it's like, you know, all of this, I gonna probably talk about it. I don't like, but like, comedy is a reflection of society.
Yeah.
We say the things that you like to say, but you have a hard time saying. And for me,
Yes.
it's always been about a story. Like, funny, like you saw Roland.
Okay, so we're filming here. I
Yeah.
live in a houseless community, and we have a program for ex-addicts.
Right.
Now, Roland, I didn't know his name before today,
Mm-hmm.
but he looks at me because he looks at you walking up. He goes, "Brah, that's Augie T, yeah?"
Yes.
And he's never spoken to me before, but today I'm brah, that's
Yeah.
Augie T, yeah? And I go, "Yes, in fact it is." And there was another member of our resident here, and she goes, "Who else is your famous friends? Hey, I need one picture
Yeah.
with Augie T." So everybody was in an uproar. I just need him to go to the bathroom. And I go, "You're going to multitask. You're going to go to the bathroom and take a picture, not in the same place. Go ahead."
Yeah.
So go ahead,
It was
Roland.
awesome. You could, you know, that turned into a bit right there.
It
Only
was
because
huge.
the way a local guy asks you for take pictures with him is always like, you know, you don't mind. Bruh, we already know. Let's go. Let's, you know, like
Let's
the
get it
whole,
over with.
yeah, the whole format. And
Yes, he
you know,
did.
I think maybe that was his new phone or
Someone
lending,
else's
and he had him on
That's
the
a
timer.
nice word, lending.
Right? He had him on
Borrowed.
a timer. So, you know, you're over there
So-
smiling and he got a 5, 4.
Yeah. Oh, he did the timer.
Yeah, it was the timer, and you know,
Wow.
and then he had a hard time explaining to me that it was treatment, and I already knew because I grew up in that kind of neighborhood. I know,
Yeah.
right? I was like,
Yeah.
"How's treatment going, bro?"
Oh,
You know, and it's
bless
like,
you,
oh.
Augie.
You know, because
You just be real, because there's a heart-to-heart connection when you're real.
I'm saying you learning about God, right? Which
Yeah.
is awesome. He
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, I think he had a hard time because he's thinking."
He's
know what I mean?
anonymous,
Yeah, and I go,
and you
"Dude,
don't know."
Go on my social media. You'll see I do a Bible study every single day.
Yes, sir.
You know,
Yes,
I'm not a
sir.
preacher. I just feel like I need to be accountable to people.
I love that.
You know,
And you know what else I love is he saw you when you got out the car. He's
Yeah.
already checking you out with me. That's Augie T, right? You know why? He owed me one photo. And I go, really? He
Yeah.
owes you a
Correct.
photo. How is that true? And then he was ready. and he did this whole thing. Then I look over. Here's Augie T, the probably one of the most well-loved celebrities from the state of Hawaii. And he is like, oh, bro, what's your last name? And you were putting in Roland's last name, and you were giving him your handle from IG. You guys went all in.
All in.
And I had to stop you when he came in here because really his whole thing was coming to our podcast, Aloha Live. And I'm
time,
like,
right?
I'm standing there going, brah, we gotta go. Let's go. And I'm your Tongan bouncer now. Let's go, Augie T. And you came in and I said, is this normal?
Yeah.
That's your everyday.
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
How loved are you, friend? And you roll with that.
I do. I mean, you know, one of the things that I saw as a young comic working with other famous comics, I would watch like how people respond. And some of the comics that I worked with was just too arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, so nobody knew who I was. I was in the back. I just kind of followed, but I watched.
You
what
started
people-
off as I think it was sound or light technician for Booga Booga.
Yes. How you know that?
I do my research as
Whoa.
a stalker chick.
Yeah. No, that's what. No.
So you were the guy in black, right? Techs wear
Correct.
black and you're pretty much invisible.
Here's the crazy part. Like, when I first saw Andy perform in the 4th grade, I started buying everybody's album,
Yeah.
including Booga Booga. So Booga Booga
Rap Replinger.
was like my favorite.
Oh, bra.
Correct.
Me too.
I could mimic every
Poi
bit,
dog, right?
Correct. So here's the crazy part. Once I won my first open mic, within 3 months of doing comedy, I bumped into every single comic that I looked up to. And like I
Wow.
knew like
Andy Bumatai,
all of
Booga
them.
Booga, right?
Yeah.
You got Ed Kanahele, you got Rap Replinger,
Frank De Lima, everybody within that.
Uncle Frank.
I went on tour with Andy, met Malcolm Bang, and then when Booga Booga did like a stint for like 2 weeks at that time the Waikiki Comedy Club, I was like, I just wanted to be around them to listen how
You
how they do
absorb a
things.
lot.
Yeah, I
You're
said,
an
can I be a
observer.
like
Yeah.
guy? And James Gambetta looked at me like, what?
That's
We don't need
crazy
one
to
like
me.
guy.
Yeah.
I go, no, I'll be a like guy. And he goes, who are you, right? And I told him, oh, I just started here at the comedy club for like 2-3 weeks, and I know all. And I was that annoying guy that knew all the jokes.
Wow.
And he was like, dude,
yeah.
right? And he mentored me until the time that he died.
Wow.
So we were working on this thing called beer can hat. Remember those beer can hats?
With the Primo beer can.
So he wanted me to really learn how to act because he thought that adding acting to your comedy might
Wow.
grow your
And it
character.
did.
Yeah. So like for me, when I do comedy,
That's
a lot of it is
huge.
like in my face,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Expressions,
Very
right?
expressive.
Trying to play the
The
part.
nonverbals,
Correct.
right?
And
Gestures.
I learned that because of
Wow.
James Gambetta.
Because of your early mentoring and
Yeah.
because you humbled yourself to watch some of the greats in Hawaii.
yeah,
I just saw a show with you and you were the opening act for Andy Bumatai.
yeah.
And after you were done, you slayed it, you killed it. He comes up and he goes, it's so interesting that Augie says that he saw me in 4th grade because now he's in the 5th grade.
Yeah.
And of course we all laugh because it is super funny. Thank you, Mr. Bumatai. But you look super young. You've lost a lot of weight recently. You've gotten fit. I saw you were doing some extreme fitness all the way out in Eva Beach, which is
Yeah.
part of your, and you were taking your mom.
Big time boot camp.
There it is.
Yeah.
And that guy's like military. In
Yeah.
fact, you gave him an award at City Council. Talk about that because when I look at you, I want to know where do you get all this energy and how do you stay so fit and young?
I think just doing what you love. Like for me, it's like everything has been a calling, from
Wow.
boxing to doing stand-up comedy, and then even running for office. So like, whenever I don't like something, and everyone that knows me know, like once I feel like I leave. Like why waste my time? Why waste your time?
Right.
You know,
You're
it's
not,
making me
your
happy.
spirit is not there.
Right. I just leave because
Yeah.
I always feel like, God gonna take care of me. And if you do things according to your calling,
Wow.
right? Even if it's like, why stay there because of the money? Or why stay there because of the job?
not worth it.
it.
Right.
A lot of us get scared because we're wondering what's next, what's around the corner. Like I've always been able to like trust my instinct and just leave.
You know, it's
I
interesting
leave.
to me you say that because you're part Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
I had a Portuguese mentor, Pastor Wayne Cordero,
Okay.
and he often said that if your heart has left this calling,
Yeah.
then you belong somewhere else.
Yeah.
And he didn't say that in a harsh way, but you're saying that's
Yeah,
real. When I
and-
feel the spirit is gone, I'm going to follow the spirit.
And when they're having a good time, like I'm at 50, I'm gonna be 57
No.
10 days from now. Right?
Happy
Yeah.
birthday. Lottie Dottie,
Yeah.
happy birthday.
So, you know, at this age, I feel like I'm having the best time.
57.
Yeah, I'm having the best time doing comedy, understanding
Councilman.
government. Yeah,
You do fundraisers,
The
community
rating,
service,
everything. Like,
media.
people always say that, well, you dye your hair. I go, no, I want to
You
look old.
don't?
No, I've never dyed my hair. I did it once. You know how stupid I went look? Like, this was like 20 years ago. If you go and look at some of my old headshots, I think, you know how when everybody did the blonde?
Yes,
I look
yes.
so dumb. Filipinos are not blonde, right? I like,
Well, not on the outside, but yes.
Yeah, so-
sometimes.
I've never.
But there are some Filipinos who wear it well. I will say some of the
My dad had
ladies.
beautiful hair. My mom.
Your mom
you
is
know,
pure poch.
All my brothers, they look old. Sorry.
No, it's good. That's what a lot of humor is. Truth that we want to say, like you said.
And I think that's what it is. Like, I'm
That's all it
enjoying waking up, right? Thankful.
Do you?
Happy. Yeah.
Because you work all day, almost every day.
Yeah.
We see you on early morning radio, 107.9. Then you go straight into councilman.
Yeah.
And then you go into MC. You still MC. I can book
still do
you
it.
on your website.
Yes.
And then you also do comedy, which you're traveling a lot to the mainland.
Yes.
How do you do all of that?
Again, waking up, loving what you do.
Grateful.
Yeah. No, just loving what you do. I love what I do. Like, I just did a senior facility out in Kaneohe. And the lady, one of the ladies there, she said, "Oh, my boyfriend was your art teacher." She goes, "But I saw him picture. Look like he never changed."
Yeah,
But
it
like,
does.
You know, but we Filipinos, we look young until we get old. That's the Andy Bumatai joke. I'm going to wake up one day, my pants going to be this high, you know, and I go, "Oh, Augie, he look old." Now he's like, "Oh, Augie looks young for his age." And then I go wake up, pants going to be this high. I'm going to be like, "What are you looking at? What are you looking
Then you'll
at?"
be pointing with your chin.
Yes,
Boy,
that's right.
that one.
So, you know, I'm enjoying I'm enjoying life, and you know, I'm absorbing now. And
You know, you read the good book, God's
Mm-hmm.
book, the Bible, and it says, "The joy of the Lord is our strength."
yeah.
I've often said that Jesus is the fountain of youth, and you look so good.
Thank
Augie.
you.
And the thing is, that comes off in your work. Because another thing that we know is that the spirit with which you do something comes across. That's the Aloha spirit. You have it. That's why I said you are Mr. Aloha alive. So it's not like, you know, Mother Teresa once said, when you're wiping a table, wipe it with love, with God's. When you're changing a diaper, change it with God. And you do. You don't just wipe it and, okay, it's done. Next. You give us 1,000,000,000% Augie on early morning radio. You give us infinity% on council member, and you're not always popular for that.
No.
It's a very controversial.
That's why I
area.
said, like, not everybody, you saying all these great things, and I'm listening, and I'm going, yeah, but I just got on hateful email, and I hate
And they
text.
rip you a new one,
Yeah.
right? And
You
they-
know, I had one yesterday, and bothered me the whole day. People don't realize, like, I'm human.
Of course.
You know what I mean? And,
you bleed red like the rest of
Yeah,
us.
and you know, and I was telling my staff this morning, because every Monday we have a meeting, and I was saying, you know, like, no matter what you do, good or bad, you just kind of make everybody happy.
Yeah.
But then, you know, when you get those that throw you off, it's like the whole day I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
really? But it was more empathetic, because there's a side of me that still have the Kalihi in me that wanted to respond.
Gee,
You
what is
know,
a response in Kalihi?
Yeah, it's like, bro,
Camp
we
for
stay.
housing.
You know, I gotta take a deep breath, dogs. You know what I mean? But it bothered me the whole day. And then I woke up this morning, and before anything, when I put my feet on the ground, I just say all my thank yous, right? And I say things like, today I choose to be happy.
Wow. Come
But,
on.
you know, and then I do my Bible study, and then I record it, put it up. and the day is on. Let's go. Time
Yeah,
to
the races. You
Yeah.
come out of the blocks and you are charging like that
Yeah.
championship singletary
we
horse.
try, right? We try every day.
Well, you do it fine, sir. Now, I have a few official questions.
all
Official
right.
kind. Lately, we were talking in part one with you, which I titled,
Mm-hmm.
When Life Hits You, You Come Back Laughing.
Oh,
So today is
cool.
more hits, more laughing.
Okay.
Because you have gone through some hard things, Augie. I saw an article you posted recently, and it was about the death of your brother.
Yeah.
Remember? And he was one of the best in the ring. And at the time, you were not even yet, I think, 16 when you won Golden Gloves.
Yeah.
That was a hard knockback, the death of your brother.
Huge.
Then recently, in the last year, you had the death of your big brother.
Yeah.
So how do you address that, Augie? Because we usually see you laughing.
Yeah.
We usually see you making so much laughing, you make us laugh.
Yeah.
But there's times when you're not laughing.
Oh, I saw a great quote. I cannot remember it, but it was about, I put on this almost sometimes facade, because the only people that understand my personal challenges, like my wife, right? And I can have the most crummiest day, and then we'll go into Walmart, and I gotta shake them off, and
You have to have public face.
people don't
right?
know, like, there's so much challenges inside.
Like
right?
this outside with Roland. You're on.
Correct.
Suddenly they
Yeah.
expect stage Augie.
Correct.
And you're just on the sidewalk
Yeah.
or in somebody's.
And when I get an opportunity to share about my personal challenges, it's amazing how much it resonates more with people than the whole. It's almost guaranteed that Augie gonna be funny, but then when Augie turns serious or he says something maybe relevant, man, it's so powerful, and I've learned to express that. It was always hard for me because I never grew up in a family that showed affection.
Wow.
It was hard for me to talk to my dad. I always tell people, get two types of Filipino men.
Okay.
There's the happy Filipino guy, One would be my dad's brother, my Uncle Doy. Always hit on every girl.
That's
You
what
know,
you
like, oh my
define
God.
as a happy
And
Filipino
he was
man.
like, yeah, he was
Okay.
like, "Ooh,
Got
look at
it
that."
now.
He would look at girls and go, you don't have to look at me. You can close your eyes. You can fantasize. That's his line. That's his line, dog. If you say he would do that to you, well, is that Don O'Brien? Oh my God. Close your eyes. And then my dad was just an angry Filipino man.
Wow, really?
Yeah,
So
well, like, total-
bipolar, one brother to another. One was the loving Filipino,
Yeah.
hit on everyone man,
And then
your
one was
dad.
just really plantation hard.
Oh wow.
Only fourth grade education. And I was just sharing this story with a bunch of seniors, because I knew and understood my dad more as he got older with dementia, because they would talk about all the things from the past, which I never know. Like I would come home one day, he'd go, Augie, Daddy went in jail, Really? I had no idea. And
Wow,
like
that's
he'd
a big
share,
thing.
yeah. And then you realize, man, this guy's
He's been through it.
yeah.
Right?
Like, I have no reason to be mad at him. I get my own shoes to walk in. His shoes was tough.
Wow.
His older brothers all passed away.
Yeah.
The black sheep of the family. Fourth grade education. Just an
Wow.
angry man. Not
And you didn't get to know that until recently when he's
Until-
revealing it due
Correct.
to dementia. God
Yeah.
bless him. And
moving
then,
in my home.
right, caretaking them,
Correct.
both
Talking
mom and dad.
story.
But growing up, you saw the angry, hard side of dad
Yeah.
because he was on survival mode.
And then, when my brother died, man, that was my dad's, get their favorites, right? And he never come to the terms that my brother was using drugs and he might have killed himself. You know what I mean? He thought that somebody
his
would
pride
kill
and
him.
joy, right?
Yeah. And they couldn't. My mom and dad could not grasp that. But they weren't the kind of parents like, hey, how you feel, Augie? How
Right.
you feel, Ernie?
It
How you-"
wasn't like that back in
No.
the day for most of us, right? It wasn't this touchy-feely parenting.
That made me
we had.
very angry. That made me very
Wow.
angry. Like, why shouldn't I share?
Yeah.
Because, I don't want nobody killing themselves because of drugs.
Right.
Like, they'll be shameful. Like, what you gotta share that for? I go, and I had to explain to them, like, for me, it's healing. When I told that story on the newspaper, I was like, I would like to believe that my brother never killed himself, but what if he did? Because he was going through personal things.
Yeah.
You know, stuff that I should have been aware of as his older brother. Maybe if I spent more time with him, maybe if I had the conversation, never got to do that.
Wow.
You know, and when he did it, you know, you question like, wow, did I do enough?
Yes.
You know?
Yes, that's so good. And many of us walk through that.
Correct.
But I love what you're saying is number one, it's healing for us to process and walk through the valley of the shadow of death, as it says in Psalm 23. But second of all, to bring truth and to show when something evil is here, right?
Correct.
When something is preying upon our brothers and sisters or people in our community. I have sometimes had a similar reaction from my family, and I'm going to walk on this really delicately. Because we had a trauma childhood, and part of that included certain types of abuse that were extreme.
Yeah.
And I have some of my siblings, sisters, who have said, why you got to talk about that? Yeah. Same thing.
No.
Because dirty laundry should stay with the family.
Yes.
And I said, no, because if it happened within the four of us, I want it not to happen to another child ever.
Yeah.
And therefore, we show light on it, right? Yeah. We are not overcome by evil, but we overcome evil by doing good. And I'm going to shine a light on it. Not because I hate that person. I forgive that person for the stuff. But we need to say to children, certain things are not okay.
Yeah. No, I've gone through. When I go in and speak to young students that are challenged with life, or when I go speak at the prisons and stuff like that, I go, what's the difference between me, my younger brother that committed suicide, my older brother that was a convicted felon? We all lived in the same house. We heard the same message.
Yep.
But we all chose
different paths.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Same.
we can make excuses all day.
Yeah.
You know, when I was being molested by my uncle, and I had to confront this with my dad. My uncle had passed away, but I wanted, because I needed to talk about it, because I compromised so much in my life, you know, because of that weight of holding that stuff in, right? And my dad would remember those times. Like, I just had to tell him, hey, Dad, you remember when I used to hold on to the rattan and they were drinking, and then, you know, you come on, I'll take you upstairs. And I would hold on to the rattan, and I wouldn't let go. It's because I never let go upstairs. Or you remember when I would tell you, come stay in my room because I would see things, because I just wanted you there. And my dad just, you know, because he remembers that, but he never know, like, and for some,
why?
But you know what that did? It made me and him closer, because like he saw that I was able to deal with it, but at the same time was like, I sorry that one happened, Augie.
Right.
Because he had a hard time saying sorry. Like, he had a hard time saying, like,
well, that was the generation, our parents, right?
Correct.
They had a hard time. Now, hold on, because I did not know that about you, Augie, and that's a huge, courageous share.
Yeah.
So thank you, friend,
No,
brother, for that.
It's all
No,
good.
and the reason why I'm thanking you for that is that I had a similar experience, and we're kind of on that vent right now. Not a vent, but on that line of logic, is that it happened in our home. And for me, the next day, I told.
Yeah.
I'm a lot like you, where I'm actually real simple. What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG, right? So if I'm not happy, you're going to know I'm not happy. If you know, if I'm happy, I'm happy. But I had a sibling who went through the similar experience and didn't tell.
Right.
And it got a lot worse.
Yeah.
And so to this day, I often feel that when there's abuse going on for children, whether it's physical or psychological or sexual abuse, that needs to come out with a safe person.
Yeah.
I'm sorry it happened to you. I never heard you share that.
You know, the thing is, like, I realized in my adult life, because I hid that, it affected me in so many ways.
Did it?
Yeah. And when I speak to kids and stuff, like, you know, if you look at my life and you read stats and you believe in data, you know, I should have been either in prison,
right,
homeless, or dead.
Drug addict, right.
Correct.
The end of that, alcohol addiction,
Correct.
all kinds of the coping mechanisms leads to death.
My dad was he loved to drink. When I see blue tarps, I get PTSD, because I remember coming home, oh gosh, this guy's gonna drink
It's the
again.
party night.
That's why I don't do it, or I never, because I saw so much trauma, right? And the decision to go on that path of like good was hard for me because it was so easy. My friends did it. You know what I mean?
It's almost pervasive,
Yeah,
right? That
it's
people
so
are
easy.
choosing to party, to drink, even underage. And back in the
Everything.
day when I was graduating, they had just fixed the law or changed the law to make it from 18 to 21,
Yeah.
legalized drinking. So back in the day when it was 18 years old, it would be even easier for young
Yeah.
people to have access. But when we look at the long term, if you fast forward that, it leads to death. Now, you kind of went through it really fast, and I just wanted to cover it. You did end up telling your dad.
Yeah. I don't know, 30, I was in my 30s. I sat him down and we had a good cry.
Wow.
If my dad could, he probably would have go up to the graveyard, pull him out, and punch the guy.
Right?
Punch him out. And go. But, it was a nice healing moment for
A bonding moment.
he and I, because we never did it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, and I needed to tell him because it's important because he was the guy that I kind of looked up to,
Absolutely.
right?
Your
Even
dad is
though
your
I never
Superman.
expect, or I never got the things that I wanted from him, but I just needed to make sure that, because I was like, man, my dad's so angry all the time.
Yeah.
So, what I went through, maybe for a lot of people, extreme, but like, I can't even imagine what my dad went through. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
if he's not able to detect,
Right.
you know what I mean?
And that's
Like,
the thing. I think we live in a generation now, and I remember when we told my dad, and same thing. He said, "I'm gonna go down there." It was in another country, and he said, "I'm gonna kill him."
Yeah.
Because I can't imagine a parent having to hear your children say these things.
Yeah.
But we said, "Well, Dad, then you'll get arrested over there, and we'll never have another dad again." So that would not help
No,
everyone.
I think it's super important that whenever you get the opportunity to share, you should, because, it's like I was saying, right? People just see the outside, the fun,
Right.
Augie, the clown,
Right.
right?
The
The
stage
circus,
Augie.
yeah.
Yes. This is we put our best foot forward.
Correct.
And I love that, though, you said, and I'm going to advance your
Okay.
point you're making, because I just saw you outside with Roland and another lady whose name I don't even know.
Right.
Because when I come home, this is my sanctuary. I kind of shut off. I go into private dawn. There's a public dawn, right? We operate in that realm. And you said, too, only your wife, Kim, knows that Augie, the private Augie.
My brothers, some, maybe close family members that I hang out with. My circle of friends is very small. I'm just not that guy. I'm like, I come in, do what I'm supposed to do, and I leave.
But there's goodness to that because it's the sacred.
Yeah.
And I've heard a very wise person say, if you really count the people that you can trust, your do or die, maybe do and die, your ride and die circle, it's probably maybe less than one hand. Maybe it's 1 to 3 people.
Yeah.
And you just said that.
Very small.
So I think
smart.
there's goodness in keeping our sacredness, because even Jesus, he had the 12, which got shrunk down to 11 when Judas had to go do what you must do. Then he had 3 best friends. And then really at the cross, it was just him
Yeah.
and God, his Father. So it's a small circle.
It
Now, you're good about relaying it forward. And thank you for sharing that. And I don't,
welcome.
is there anything else you want to share on that
No,
topic? That
no,
was
no,
a
no.
massive share, so I
You
don't want
know,
to breeze right by.
I started talking about it when I started talking to kids that challenged by suicide. Then my daughter, she has that nonprofit Brave, and
It's so exceptional. Brave Hawaii, which goes against bullying.
yeah,
And you guys have been doing it for years.
yeah, and so I remember when she first asked me, "Oh, can you come and help me with the assemblies?" And I never like beat Frank De Lima, because whenever I saw a comedian going to schools, I always thought it was like, oh no, we're gonna do the Budohan. I love you,
Or
Frank.
the peanut story.
Right, I love you, Frank. But I never
M&M
like
peanuts.
being that guy, and I knew like if I
Oh,
do
we
that,
both love Frank because we
Yes.
were in school when he would come and do the
I
rallies.
just never like be that guy. So when my daughter asked me to do it, I was like, oh. But I also knew like I had a story to tell,
Yeah.
and a truth
Yes.
to explain.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And I knew like that was gonna hurt my comedy career. I tell you why. Because comics, we work in the gray area.
Oh, okay.
There's no black and white. We say the things like you think about,
Right.
and we say it. not to be like I don't do things to be offensive, but like I want to work in that space.
Right.
And
It's the safe zone.
correct. Well, not the safe zone. That's where you
This is
gotta.
the truth, right? You're
Right.
saying things that we're thinking.
Correct. Not black or white.
Okay.
It's right there, right? And I knew like if I went on and talked, I would lose that edge, and I'd be, and then that's what happened. And I started seeing kids that in worse situation that I was growing up, and I
Wow.
was hard to write comedy now when all you see is trauma.
Right.
You know, as a comic, we see trauma as an opportunity to write jokes.
Right. It
Sadness.
becomes a bit.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
Well,
content.
it's hard now because you go to schools and you see kids that almost slip
They're
up.
walking through it.
Yeah, and you go, wait a minute, I remember sitting in class, and I think I shared with you this in the last podcast, but like speakers would come to our school and go, you are tomorrow's future, and we all believe that. Yes, we are. What do you want to be? I want to be president of the United States, right? And then you become an adult and you go into schools and you go, is this supposed to get better?
Right.
When I was in
Right.
school, we had one homeless guy. Why is there 300 now?
Right. Exactly.
Like-
Why are we the top state in the United
Correct.
States with the most homeless?
Right.
This isn't getting actually
How-
better.
Yeah. And I could easily go down the road and write so much comedy about that, but like I was in there hearing the disrespect. You go over there, you speak, and you get a kid looking at you like, I don't like listen to you. And you go, wow, what's wrong with that guy? Right? You got to go outside, talk to him. And it affects you, right? Because, like, man, I can sense he's angry or her.
Right.
But, like, why aren't we detecting that? Oh,
And that's, thank you for that, brother. And it leads me right into this is that hurt people hurt people.
right.
And that's what I think you're starting to address is these kids are walking through trauma. It's their right now.
Right.
I remember teaching at Nanakuli High School and Intermediate. I had a 9th grade girl who was going through physical sexual abuse in her home. Her mom's boyfriend, and she was this stunning young lady. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to report it. It's the state law. And she pled, she wept. There was no way I could share it, but she found safety with me to say this. And I said, let's just call her Kay. Kay, I'm going to have to take you out of that house. That's inconceivable. And she's taller than I am. I'm pretty tall, but this girl was tall, beautiful, 9th grade girl. And she said, please don't. It's only 3 more years. And I try real hard not to cry in front of children because they tell you to be the strong one. And if they see us lose it, right? I turned away for a second. I took a few real deep, brave breaths, and I came right back. And I said, but I'm still going to check on you then.
Yeah.
I agree to this not so good agreement that I'm not going to go press charges and take you out of there, move you away, move you into my house. But Augie, hurt people hurt people. And we're there to bring hope because healed people heal people. And you were giving a safe space and sanctuary for these children to process pain.
Yeah.
And as I remember this young lady, Kay, she was able to go on and graduate.
Oh, that's awesome.
But they're walking in the pain right then.
Challenging.
The pit of pain. Now back to what you were saying, and I want to speak this prophetically over you. And always when I speak a prophetic word over someone, Augie, I want you to test the spirit because the Bible says don't just let anybody come roll up on you with some kind of mojo magic, right? This is just a truth of the Lord is that we get to reverse the curse and bring a blessing.
Sure.
Because it ends with us, right?
Yeah.
You, I felt, exposed a truth about your family. It was unfortunate. It's a really bad choice for people to molest small children.
Yes.
Right? It's the same thing in my culture, in my family. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Yeah.
And I will speak the truth with all delicacy and respect for other people in my family, right? I get it. It hurts them still. But I, like you, am a truth teller because we're going to shine the light and it will kill the darkness.
Yeah.
And it sets that person free.
Yeah.
So thank you for being brave enough to approach some of the hard spaces. And this goes back to where we first started. And we've gone all kinds of big ways all around the block here in Kalihi. Because that's how Augie T and DOB Don O'Brien do. But you started by talking about how you got to process your pain and share the truth. Because when we speak the truth, truth deep calls to deep. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Is that a
absolutely.
good word over you? And go
Yeah.
test that. But I think you broke generational curses
I hope so.
to stop.
I think our fruit is our children, right?
Amen.
And all the things that they're doing, do I think I could have been a better dad? Absolutely. But I look at them now and I go, okay, I'm good. I think I did what I was supposed to do. And I would remind them every time. I say, my job is to make sure that when you leave this house, you're equipped
It's good.
with something,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yes.
never had that opportunity.
Wow.
So that's my job. When you leave this house, are you equipped? Because the world, will beat you up, and you better
Spit
have
you
ways.
out.
Yeah, better have ways of like preparing for that.
Yeah.
So when I see them now as an adult, I go, okay. Wasn't the best dad because dad was always moving and doing things, and
You were
probably was
hustling,
really hard for
surviving.
them. It was hard for them. They got bullied because of dad. Everyone thought that, wow, we get all this money, which no, that's all false.
You were riding the bus for a long time.
Yeah,
You said,
but like you go on TV, people just think, oh, you must
right,
make all
you're
this
a
money.
celebrity.
Yeah, so it was hard for them, because there's an expectation.
right.
So I feel
There's an
bad for them,
image.
but they did the best they could, and they're very respectful adults, and
They
they're doing
are.
their very best. Yeah,
They're
So-
pillars, and they're pillars of truth,
Correct.
much like yourself. And
And you can, as a parent, you still worry about them, even though they're in their 40s.
well, and that's a question for me. Thank you for reminding me as we
Okay.
talk about this. It has to do with your kids.
Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
5 altogether.
Oh, brah, you was
Wow.
busy.
2 from the first marriage, and then my wife had her previous married kids. So like we have a
Combined.
blended family.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're all our kids.
Right.
You know,
it has
and,
to be
uh,
Hawaiian style Hanai,
correct.
right? Those are
And
your kids.
They all get along with each other. They're all funny, and they
and they
doing
speak
well.
truth.
Yes.
So I was gonna say you're super busy, right?
Yeah.
We said radio, councilman, MC, comic. You travel to the mainland a whole lot, but you're also very involved in your children's lives.
Try to be. It's tough. Now as an adult,
even as they're grown
Yeah.
kids, because they are grown now.
they're grown kids.
So how old is your first? It's Augie Tulba Jr.,
Junior is
otherwise known as Bo.
40, I think already.
Woo! Yeah, you started early.
Filipino.
Early.
We're like gremlins. You just add water. Out of
As he sips
right,
water.
Filipino mic camera guy. You just have to touch us. You get pregnant. That's it.
I'll stay on this side of the table. Thanks to Mrs. Toba. Thank you.
Yeah.
All love and respect. So you have a 40-year-old and you look like you're not even 40.
Yeah.
Named one of the top 40 under 40. Of course, then you have I Love Mahel Lani.
Yeah.
She's the one who, your
25.
daughter, Sims Toba.
Yes, 25.
She is the lady at the captain of the head of Brave Hawaii.
Correct.
And helping to overcome and conquer bullying in the state of Hawaii. Why do you take and make so much time for your kids, even as grown ones?
Look, if they have a project, or I think the biggest thing is that, like, I'm one phone call away.
Yeah.
I always tell them, like,
Wow.
just call.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I had that with my dad.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, it works both ways.
Yes, it does.
You know what I mean? And you're adults. So, like, you, right here,
Yeah.
or you listen to the radio, that's dad. Maybe I should give him a call.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like, they know, like, if they call
So you're
me, Mm-hmm.
fully accessible, and I'm gonna add something that you don't know about you, or maybe you do, but this is as an outside objective party. I was emceeing an event at
Yeah.
Honouliuli Middle School.
Okay.
Brave Hawaii was represented. Mahel Lani, I was going to introduce her. And then Augie T walks into the very full cafeteria. Over 1,000, right? You have 900 something students, all the teachers,
Yeah.
VAs, everybody. And you were completely second fiddle.
yeah.
You did not need any attention. Of course, I already was scrambling. Get him a leg. Get Augie's here. Augie, did you want to say something? Did you want to promote something? Did you need to campaign? Knock on a door, leave a
Yeah.
sign. What do you need to do? And he's like, Don, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
you were very gracious, but
Yeah.
you knew how to let Mahel Lani take front and all of the spotlight.
Yeah.
You were just there to support her completely.
It's like that with all of them. My son does drag, the older one.
Mr. Bo,
Bo. So the first time he does this competition, I go in, everybody's like, Bo's like, oh my God, Dad, you taking away the steam.
Oh, you went.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's like watching
yeah.
you walk in. You're very recognizable,
Yeah.
and everybody loves
So
you.
like all his friends was like, can I take pictures?
Wait, how do they ask you?
Can I take pictures? I'm like, of course you can.
Not.
But like, for me, it's such a
You know
cool
what I
thing.
enjoy is that you are able to laugh and bring up something that's difficult.
It is.
Right? Because that was on the list is you have a son who is living a gay lifestyle.
2 of them.
Not just gay lifestyle, 2 sons, excuse me,
Yeah.
but drag queen gay.
Yeah.
And you're a man of faith, a man of the word.
Yeah.
So let's walk into that right now.
Let's do it.
What kind of challenge is that? I'm not going to say is it a challenge because every child is a challenge, whether
Yeah.
they're homosexual, bisexual, all sexual.
Yeah.
How did you walk through that? Because you were
Um,
one of the first that I knew personally locally.
Mm-hmm.
How was the
Yeah, I
what
talked
was
about it in my act because it was very difficult. I grew up in a household where like you had to fight.
Mm-hmm. Cam 4.
Anything that looked feminine, my dad would like, "Well, you mo? No, dad, we good." We pick up on the fork, on sip. What is this, right? So
very masculine, man's man.
yeah,
No gray zone there.
Yeah.
You're either all man or you better
right.
be a man.
If you saw my act, I just talk about like every dad don't go to bed going, "Please let my son be a ballerina." You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's the route my son.
Junior went.
Yes, and we had conversations where like, he knows one of the things that I made them understand at a very young age that living life can be difficult. Like was always difficult for me. So I cannot imagine how it's gonna be with you. And then your dad is somebody in Hawaii.
Wow,
and
you
everyone
had
knows.
that talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And I told them like, this lifestyle gonna be challenging.
Yeah.
And you have to learn to accept the fact that people gonna disrespect you. Doesn't mean you disrespect them.
Wow.
Yeah. Like understand that this gonna be challenging. And then and they're very brave kids. They're very not men. Oh, depending. They, women. I don't know. That's me being funny, people.
His sons laugh. You're allowed to laugh.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah,
laughing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
laughing at. It's laughing
with them, right? But it's always been challenging for them.
Wow. But you prepared them with that talk, and you are dad, and they are your sons, and there's no shame.
Yes.
Right?
And I still have a hard time with it. They know that, and
We talked about this
sometimes
at your show before the show.
Sometimes they like, you have to keep talking about us, and I don't as much now.
It's how you processed, you said
Yeah.
initially, is you did use it and go into a comedy bit
Correct.
that you were processing.
Yes, I was working through my own challenges with my children being gay.
Yeah.
And people laugh at that because they understood like what's challenging for me. You know what I mean? So my kids know that. I just did an interview with my older son on Olelo.
it.
Yeah, and it was cool because you know what I mean?
Very
like
well done.
very, very challenging for him being
It's a hard
the
topic.
son, right? Of an entertainer. People made fun of him. But luckily, because we always had that talk about
Yeah.
gonna be challenging.
Well, first of all, kudos that you did the episode.
Yeah.
It's up. You can watch it on what is the name of the podcast again?
It's called Talking Story with Augie. But I do it because I want to help Olelo and get people to understand how to work behind the camera.
It's good.
It's a free thing. It's subsidized by the city and the federal government. So why not take advantage?
A little
know.
plug in PSA.
I know, right?
For Olelo and public TV. But back to the point.
Yeah.
You're not trying to closet and that was a bad term to pull up for this, but you're not trying to hide your son.
No.
You, in fact, and even in your comedy bit, and this is my opinion, I'm owning it, I'm not trying to offend anyone, you were not offensive. You didn't try to shame him or make him the butt of a joke. So
No.
that you didn't put it out there so that the whole community pointed and went, ew.
Correct. Well, the thing is, like, you get people who think that, right?
Exactly.
And, it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate, but
It's extremely unfortunate.
yeah, for my kids because they gotta hear it, right? Oh,
Well,
your
and-
dad teasing you, and they gotta keep explaining. Well, not really because I kind of know, and people are curious,
Right.
you know, and that's where comedy is so important because it dives into stuff that maybe you're not comfortable with hearing.
I love
you
you
know?
for that, Augie, and that's exactly my point.
Yeah,
Is that this, even for me right now, is an uncomfortable topic because what I've seen happen is a lot of bullying around this issue and this topic, even saying the word queen, right? But if we don't begin to shine the light on some of this with love and with grace, and believe me, I grew up in South Polynesia. My first cousin is probably the queen of all queens.
Yeah.
He is as far as you, I mean, and that was back in the day. I'm
That-
54 years old. He's 54 and a half. And so, how do we, when we, as people in Polynesia or on these small little islands, and somebody once said, don't burn a bridge on a small island chain, Don O'Brien.
yeah,
So, how do we malama and love people? Yes, I believe in the Bible. Yes, I am a Jesus Christ Christian through and
Yeah.
through. But how do we translate
I
that?
tell you, the last conversation I had with two of my sons, we were in a restaurant, and going back to my older brother that passed away,
Yeah.
I told them why I was bothered. I told them like, and I cried in the restaurant. I told them because I didn't do enough, and at the end of the day,
It's good.
it's like, make sure you guys get to heaven. I don't know,
That's good.
and
The
again,
Bible says this.
again, only them can repent,
Right.
right? Only them can say whatever they're gonna say.
But
I need
how
it-
will
I
they
need,
know unless they
correct.
hear?
You gotta, yeah,
It
and
says
that's
in the
that
book of
whole
Romans.
right. You
and
have
you
to.
said it with tears,
Correct.
which shows me that, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
hard truth to speak, but we say it with true
you,
love.
you didn't. They know the truth because, they grew up in church,
Wow.
and that's not my point to judge, right?
No,
You
it's
gotta
not.
just love, right? And you share how, like,
Right.
man, I never do enough. And I think deep down inside, they know, like, maybe I never do enough. I was a young dad, you know what I mean? And I just want them to know, like, I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna always love you. But dad is going through this transformation.
in the
And-
Bible.
Correct. And I read in my Bible every day.
And now you're bringing the truth
Correct.
as you know it. Because
Yeah.
back in the day, you got pregnant really young,
Yeah.
right? You were going to go into boxing as a career, I was reading.
Yep.
You were the Golden Gloves champion, and then you got pregnant.
Yeah.
And then you had to go into working, and so you become a survival dad. I want to pivot really quickly.
'Kay.
Thank you for that. Thank you for hanging tough on that tough topic.
Yeah.
But we're talking about dads and we're talking about young men. And I just said you got pregnant early, right? So, one, I want to hear,
It's hard pushing.
right? I'm bigger than you are, Augie T, and I might be older at this point. But I want to hear, what do you have to say to dads and what do you have to say to young men? Because I have that down as you grew up in Camp 4 housing. It's
Yeah.
literally up the street. So, Kalihi is one of the hardest crime areas. It is the top crime area in the state of Hawaii. And so we have extremely poor young men.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of temptation and there's no direction. There's often fatherlessness. And so there's lots of temptation, bad choices, even criminal
Yeah.
choices nowadays. Like it gets real deep real fast, not like back in the day. So what would you say to a young man growing up today?
First off, I don't think government can solve every problem in this challenging time.
Wow.
But opportunity is one step away when you decide to make it an opportunity. You
Like
can do it for
what?
bad or you can do it for good, right? So, like, when I say government
Can't cover it all.
can't cover it all, when I go out and I talk to the homeless in my community, I think we've enabled, I don't know how long,
Yeah, come on.
I think when I believe that every man want to take care of their family. Every man want to lead. Every man wants to provide.
Every man is given a God-given thumbprint of
Correct.
purpose and
So-
a plan, vision.
If given an opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
they can thrive.
Yes, sir.
So it's taking that step forward,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's so easy to choose that path. And you know, when I talk to homeless in my community and I tell them, hey, not comfortable living here.
Right?
And they go, no, I like it. I like the freedom. You know, I don't like being told what to do. I go, yeah, but I get told what to do. I would rather sleep on bed.
Right.
I would rather wake up
Have
wanting
running
to,
water.
yeah.
Yeah. Brushing
You know,
my teeth.
and you cannot tell me that this is comfortable. I grew up in public housing.
Yeah. Yeah, you.
My dad did whatever he could to keep it clean, but I never like be there. I wanted to do other things. So you cannot tell me. But I think we enabled so much that people have lost hope, and they don't think ever going to change.
Wow.
Right? So when you have the thinking of not changing or lost hope, it's hard to convince somebody
Yes.
to like here. So I only can tell you what I've seen, and I'm not an expert, but I believe that when we give people options,
Mm-hmm.
no more excuses.
Yeah.
So like when I look at my community in Waipahu and the stuff that I'm doing there, I go, what if I chipped away at cleaning the area? Right? What
Which
if
you
I
did this past weekend.
Yeah, we did all of that, right?
Great job.
And we get churches, nonprofits, and business involved.
Partnering.
Correct.
Ahui.
And then maybe put in one respite. And pretty soon I can go, hey, you ready for go?
Mm-hmm.
And they go, what you mean, ready for go? We have someplace for you go.
Yeah.
For a long time, the residents in the area, no place for go,
The houseless.
right?
Yeah.
And Y&I, outside of the community,
Right.
you know, no more the real help,
Yeah.
the real transformational help.
It's good.
So they just think, nah, not good. So if we can chip away at little things,
Right.
right? Maybe one church, take on one family.
Mm.
That's all,
It's good.
you know?
Well,
Maybe
and
we
what
can
I
help
like
them
about
inside
this,
out.
I
I
just
don't know if that answered your question, but like, I just think there's opportunities. And
you're speaking to young men and saying, take
Yeah.
a step. Like
Yeah.
you said, PSA, public service announcement for going and working at Olelo. You could be a cameraman behind a
Sure.
camera or a sound technician like a certain Augie T at a comedy club and start learning your way up. So that was a good answer. But thank you for talking about the houselessness issue because I just did a podcast where I said, you know, Portuguese say, you don't know what you don't know. And I'm like, wow, that was genius. That was like a brain stroke right there. You don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But my Delima Ohana always says that to me. Dai, I don't know what I don't know. And I go, again, I know you don't know what you don't know, but
it's like when people complain, right, about
Yeah.
that. They go, where all this money going?
yes, I
Right?
would like to know.
So,
Millions of dollars in our
yes.
state budget.
Yeah, so if you want a good job,
Be a
Homeless
homeless and
advocate.
houseless advocate.
because I don't
committee
think we
member.
really want to solve the problem because so much money being poured in.
Woo-hoo! Whop your jaws.
Right, so I
'cause
just
that
think-
is a really big statement right there.
Well, I just
Mr.
think
Councilman.
if you
I
cut
think
at
you're
it,
absolutely correct.
Yeah.
I don't think it's
Don't
a
give
houseless
options.
ministry, it's a houseless industry.
Yeah.
People
Don't-
are making big money.
no options. Like no human should be sleeping in a bush or in a
Under a
inhumane.
bridge.
Yeah.
Right.
Not
Out
humane.
in the middle of Eva Beach
Like,
in no man's land.
If we wanted to solve the problem, I 100% believe that we could.
I
if
think we
wanted
really
to.
could. And the Bible says those who do not work will not eat.
Right.
That was the system in the beginning of the church, right? My daddy taught me, and he said, Don, if I give you a fish, you'll eat for a day. But if I teach you how to fish, you'll eat for a lifetime. Do not enable people with a handout.
Yes.
Give them a hand up. You
Yeah.
help them a little bit, but set them
All
on
you
their
have to
feet
do
and
is just
go.
listen. They'll tell you.
Yeah,
They'll tell you, no, I like it like this. No, you
it's
don't.
freedom, right?
Right? Oh,
But it's
You know,
not the
not gonna
abundance
change.
of God. It's not the fullness of life.
correct.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like live this like how the old ways. No.
No, it's not.
No.
You're outside of community.
Yes.
Outside of God's best. What would you say? Okay, that was a good and interesting long word to the young men who have a 10-second
Yeah.
attention
Hey,
span.
just do your best. Stop making excuses. The opportunity is right behind the door.
He's now giving his graduation speech. He's going to try
Oh,
him out right
gosh.
now. What would you say to dads? Because I heard you talk about your dad. I heard you talk about you as a dad. And there's different seasons. But what's a word of encouragement for dads today?
Be vulnerable.
Wow.
Yeah, just
You went from the 12-minute answer to a 2-word answer right there. Be vulnerable.
your kids know that you're not perfect.
Come on now.
Right?
That's
They know,
exactly it.
Like, they just
We
be
know when
vulnerable.
you're putting the she-by shellac,
Man,
which
my
is
dad
the
gave
filth
that.
frosting.
Shit, my
It's
dad
not
and
all
my
good.
dad just was vulnerable, man. You know, I only saw that towards the ending of his life. My dad came to all my shows, right? And I could see that he was proud.
Did he really?
Yeah.
I love that,
Yeah,
Augie.
there's a- Then and now, the video, he sits in the front row, and my Filipino dad loved the bling bling, even though it's fake. This big gold chain with scorpion. I'm like, Dad, you wear a fake chain. That's okay. That's
With
okay.
the scorpion.
Yeah, one big scorpion head. you know?
Wow.
Yeah, he'd sit. My mom and dad would sit right in the front, and you know, I
The
say
bling
this.
bling for the
I think I
book.
say this in the video. It's like one of the coolest things is that my mom and dad could see the fruit of their labor. Like they weren't so bad parents after all.
No.
You know, maybe they wasn't perfect, but
They did the best they could.
yeah, and I would have loved my dad. My dad would have loved see me become a council member. He would have laughed like, "How did I wear that pin?" You know, and that boy wasn't special ed. He wasn't in special ed, honey. No, that's Rano and Michael. You sure Augie wasn't in special ed? No, that was Ernie. You sure, honey? My brothers
know
now,
one
all
time-
my brothers now listening going, "Hey, I wasn't in special ed."
Yes, you were a short bus. Okay. You know, one time you were sharing at the Hawaii Theater. Hawaii Theater, we're laughing with, not at, remember?
Yes.
You were sharing about how your parents went out for the night, left you with your, and they were supposed to be back at like, I don't know,
Oh,
9 o'clock. They
gosh.
didn't come home on time, and what did you share
The
about
trauma. These guys had no idea that they were abusing their children. You know what I mean? Like as soon as
You
I could
thought
talk
you were now
and
the
walk.
head of the house,
Yes,
right?
I
And
was
you
the
told
oldest.
your brothers.
Right. I was like, you know, my dad would like sit us down. That's the only time he would get serious when he's drunk and he was like, "Hey, I haven't talked to all you guys." "How old you, Augie?" Nine. "You know, if anything happened to Daddy, you're the head of this family." I'm like 9. My brother's like 8, 6. "What? You the head of this family. If anything happened, you the head of this family." So
That
like
was a
it
real
in my,
talk.
Right. And sometimes these guys would be gone for hours. "You remember now, don't open the door for anybody. Don't pick up their phone. Don't use the oven. You understand me? Okay. We're gonna be home at this time."
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like you're 9 years old, you're watching your brothers
Right.
who running amok in the
Bucaloose
house.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're just waiting for them to
Right,
come home.
9 o'clock. Come on, 9
And I
o'clock.
just remember one night, these guys, when my dad overdid it, you know, he was in a bar after bowling. And I just remember looking out on the 9 o'clock. It's not 9. Where they stay? 10. Where they stay?
Right?
Oh, 11. I'm panicking now. You know, all you can hear is, "You the head of the family." Oh, that was it. 12 o'clock. I woke up my brothers. "Get up! I'm the new daddy. Tomorrow we're gonna eat cereal. For dinner we're gonna eat cereal." And then he would come home and
He
I was
had
like,
the plan.
"Oh," and they would come home and I would just yell at my father. My father had no idea. Like, "What? What you do that to us for?" "Shut up, go sleep." You know, like panicking, just all that trauma growing up.
And then he became a council member for
Yes.
the whole state of Hawaii. Do you feel
Amazing.
assured and rested right now?
You should.
Oh my gosh, Augie T. You guys got to go see a live show because that's what this is. The whole time, it's just real stories.
Yeah, it's just fun stories.
And it's family. It's safe for the whole family.
yes, you can bring your kids and you can laugh. And, you know, if it gets kind of, I know how
Edgy.
to go.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
I've done it for so long. People
You have.
worried, right? I was doing this preschool graduation. Who does?
First, he's doing makilaulea, funerals of today. Now you're doing preschool graduate. Yay!
Right.
Finished pre-K.
No, I did preschool graduation, and they were doing this house selection. It was so funny because how one kid was like wanting to be, astronaut. I said, before I announce most likely to go to space, house selection, I said, do you like the stars? And he preschool, right? Yes. You like the moon? Yes. You really like space, right? He goes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, most likely to become an astronaut and go to space, so and so, right? And then they clap, yeah, and I go, yeah, when I was growing up, a lot of my friends was in space.
But we don't say that in front of children.
But the
safe
parents
for the
are
family.
laughing.
Yes,
because
we know what you're talking
and
about.
there's been so many years
We
of
do
me
know.
doing jokes
Right,
like that.
right.
Like, oh, where you going? Where you going? Where you going? Oh.
Well, you
Left
set up
turn.
the goalposts and you
Correct.
let us kick it through, like
There's
the
so
Charlie
many of them.
Brown with the football, kind of like your recent Jason Momoa
Yeah,
bit, right? You take us right there. You set up the goalpost. You don't say anything inappropriate,
No.
but it's fall on your face.
You know.
Laughing.
And, when I told my kids about that, they're like, I don't get it, Dad.
Oh.
But when I
Right,
was
but it's for the
explaining,
adults.
because whenever I have a joke, especially with the topic of being gay, I always call the experts.
Yeah.
My kids, right? They go, I don't get it yet. I go, well, you gotta see the bit.
Yes.
So I'm trying to explain.
You did it so
that,
good.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
The Vegas
I don't know
trip.
how you feel.
Yes.
you know?
Yes. And that you had to tell them, I'm not gay.
Correct.
Right. And they're like, Dad, no duh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
we got that.
Yeah. So you gotta see whether or not I turn gay in my new act.
Yeah. Well, this is a Christian podcast. So
Well,
thanks for that little plug.
But it's
right
good
there.
because then you make the right decision because God wants us to make the right decisions.
And
He loves
reins
us.
It back in.
He loves us,
That's
but he
the
wants us
fast
to
loves. He knows
He wants
how
us to
do
make
it,
the right
family.
decision.
Okay, we're bringing this in for a landing on that note. Let's
All right,
bring it back
perfect.
to Jesus.
Okay.
Perfect. Last word. What is aloha to you, sir?
Oh gosh,
I know it's no small question.
it's not. What is aloha to me?
How do you feel aloha?
Man, there's so much. That's a really, when I wake up, I'm thinking, am I gonna be the best husband, dad today, or do I have my community in mind? Because I wake up like worried about my district. And for me, it's just kind of like, what does aloha mean to me? Like, if you're thinking about other things besides yourself,
Yeah.
good things,
Yeah.
that's aloha,
Wow.
right? Like, it's so easy for like,
That's
oh, I aloha me. Oh, I love me. Oh, me so awesome. You know what I mean? But like, that's not what God calls us
Come on.
to do, right?
That's really good.
He calls us to be the best example we can be so that other people might see something that they don't see in themselves.
Wow.
Right? So, yeah, just trying to be the best example. For me, it's just kind of being genuine Augie every day.
Wow. The true blue, real deal, genuine
Yeah.
Augie every day.
Right.
Well, AugieTLive.com.
And that's aloha.
I love it.
Yeah,
That's
A is not for Augie, it's for aloha. Except for that one guy there and write me the mean text
okay.
all
All
day.
right. Remember, we walked through that. We already processed it, Mr. Aloha. We're going to go back to Aloha because Aloha always wins. Aloha always wins. Love never fails.
Is that a hula?
Well, I made it up as a small sign dance for children at the rallies
That's
that
so good.
me and
How
Uncle
do you do
Frank
it?
do.
Let's do it. What is this?
We do
Aloha?
Aloha, so you make a little
Yeah.
heart, not a little fart, and then you make a big heart, which is why we left the farting behind.
Yeah.
And you say always
Always.
wins.
Wins.
Aloha
always
wins. Always choose aloha
Perfect.
because
Always.
aloha always wins.
That is so good.
Today with Mr. Augie T, Mr. Aloha Alive. And by the way, thank you for bringing joy into the aloha because joy is the supercharger
It
on
is.
that aloha.
It heals everything.
Even as I heard your testimony about the molestation as a young boy, and I had no idea, friend. Thank you
Yeah.
for that trust.
Always challenging to talk about that, but like, it's important. because there are a lot of kids. 1 in 4, I think 1 in 4 adults, right?
1 in 4 girls and 1 in 5 boys.
Yeah. So there's a lot of people that go through that, and get the help. Talk. It's amazing what talking does, and
Yeah.
you can find
It
and
feels like
correct.
there's no one to help you because you're a child, and it feels like an adult is making a very bad choice and there's no one else. But as Augie shared and as I share, when you tell someone who is safe, you're going to get help
Yeah.
because we want to help you.
Yeah.
And there are many resources to make that happen. So Aloha always wins. AugieTLive.com. You can catch his shows. You
you.
can listen to him in the morning on 107.9, or you can even go to your local council member. He'll be there until 2029. Then he's writing the tell all book. Yeah, you. Aloha always wins. Chee-hoo!